We are going to journey through the Canadian Rockies at Kodak speed. And so you're going to hear a little more about what that is. And then they are going to be sharing the new U.S. rail journey options in the Southwest portion of the United States. And so that is brand new. And so you'll be some of the first people to learn about that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you our favorite Rocky Mountaineer travel professional, Danny Becker. And so Danny, take it away.
Kendall, I really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody for joining tonight. Let me go ahead and share my screen here, and already started the recording. And let me get this going. Give me 1 second here. Okay, all set. All right, well, my name is Danny Becker again. I've been the business development manager for Rocky Mountaineer in the Southwest region now for exactly 5 years, just past my 5th anniversary. And we've actually been talking about this new US route for several years now, but when COVID hit back in February, March, whenever it was, our owner, Peter Armstrong, said, okay, if we're not able to bring our US guests to ride our train in the Western Canadian Rockies, we're going to bring the train to them. And so that's what we've done, and more about that a little bit later, but we'll get into that. But I want to give you some special information about a group that Brandt Travel has going first, and there's a number of slides here, so I apologize in advance. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, but you should be able to get a very good idea of the great group that they have going. And I believe last count, Kendall, you guys had somewhere around 13 to 15 people already booked on this, but wanted to go through this really quickly. So before I do that though, just wanted to tell you about, just show you actually some of the awards that we've won. You know, I'm not going to go through all these, but we're really especially proud of that bottom center award. That's the Travel Weekly Reader's Choice Award. We've won that now about 12 or 13 times out of our 30-year existence. You know, last year was 2020 was supposed to be our 30th anniversary. What a thing to happen on your 30th anniversary, right? And we did not run at all in 2020, but we are ready to go for 2021, not only with our Canadian routes, but our new US route as well. So day one on this July 17th trip, you'll arrive Vancouver, and I apologize in advance about the fuzziness of some of these pictures. You know, like that one at the bottom right there. That's actually, I just wanted to point out, I usually don't show pictures of airports because they're usually not that special, right? But this is a really unique airport at Vancouver, and it's got this nature, First Nations theme, and it's the only airport that I've ever seen that has a Fairmont inside it. And the actual machines that you see there are the new global check-in or customs check-in machines, and it's just a very fast and easy process to go to the US and back into Vancouver. So that's your starting point there as you arrive Vancouver. And we're staying the first couple of nights there in the beautiful Sheridan Wall Center. And this is a spectacular hotel. It's a Silverleaf hotel for us. We have a list of Silverleaf and a list of Gold Leaf hotels, but I personally think this should be a Gold Leaf hotel because they do such an incredible job. We host a number of our what we call learning journeys, our travel agent trips here at various parties during the early part of our season. Typically, we did not do that last year, but Sheridan Wall Center does a fantastic job, and you can see what a beautiful view you have from that hotel. It's just an incredible property, and really good food too, and lots of great restaurants in the area. So there's an interior shot of one of the king bedrooms, and you get an idea by looking out those windows what a view you have of Vancouver. Vancouver, many of you I'm sure have been there. It's a very cosmopolitan city, a lot to do and see there, and we're going to take you to see some of it. In fact, the second day after you arrive, we'll have breakfast at the Sheridan. You can see the Cafe One there on the left, top left, and we'll be actually taking the BC ferry over to Victoria, And you can see the famous Fairmont Empress there in downtown. It's right near the government buildings for British Columbia. In the summertime, that harbor right there in front of the Fairmont Empress becomes a little mini airport on water. It's quite fascinating to watch. And obviously, Bouchard Gardens is a really a big highlight of Victoria Island as well. So that's the first day right out of the bat there. And then here's our route map. I just wanted to quickly let you know what our routes are in the US, in the Canadian Rockies. And that red route is our most popular route. That's the route you're on. It's called First Passage to the West. And that's the one we'll concentrate on today. Vancouver to Kamloops, and then Kamloops over to Lake Louise and Banff. And I'll show you the actual route map for our trip here in just a moment. But first, let's go over service levels briefly. We have two levels of service: Silverleaf and Goldleaf in the Canadian Rockies. And here's a shot of both of those cars. Now they're both very unique classes of service. One is not meant to be better than the other; they're just different. In fact, these Silverleaf cars at the bottom here, they're single level. They hold 54 guests, and it's like all your meals, drinks, snacks, and everything are served seat side, like first class on an airline, and so single level, and we'll see some shots of the interior of the Silverleaf cars a little bit later on. But you guys will be in Goldleaf on this trip. It's our twin level cars. These Goldleaf 3.0 cars, we have 10 brand new ones in our fleet, and they're built by a company in Germany called Stadler, and they're $10 million a piece. They're very high-end rail cars, and you'll see some more shots of it as we go along. It's Michelin trained chefs in every Goldleaf car. The food is phenomenal. You go downstairs for your breakfast and lunches, and you have your snacks and drinks upstairs, and there's an outdoor viewing platform as well that you'll probably see on one of the videos too. So that's a little bit about both of our classes of service. Now here is our route map for this trip. And day 3, after your trip to over to Victoria, we'll transfer that next morning from your hotel, from the Sheridan Wall Center, to our station, and for day 1 on the rail. And this is our beautiful rail station. Now we will see, if depending on the severity of the virus, how much of an issue that it still is at this time, we may not even go inside this beautiful train station, which is kind of a shame because it's a great atmosphere. But we will do whatever we need to do to keep people safe. In fact, we have a full protocol of safety measures that I'll show you at the very end of this presentation. But that's a shot of the interior. And let me just set this up. This is our First Passage to the West video. It's just a couple of minutes long, but I wanted to include it here because I think it's really worth watching for you.
The vibrancy of Vancouver slowly evaporates in the distance. The majestic coast mountains rise up to greet you. And you find yourself on a historic journey that retraces the route of the great 19th century explorers. Let your imagination travel along with the first pioneers, across rushing rivers, through magnificent canyons, alongside sheer rock faces, the unparalleled luxury and service the early explorers could never dream of. Marvel in awe as you cut through ancient gray-green volcanic rocks that are 200 million years old. Well, give or take a million. Now you find yourself back in 1885 at Craigellachie, the famous site of the last spike, where Canada's east and west were finally united by 3,200 kilometers of track. With vivid historic imagery still in your mind, The awe-inspiring natural beauty continues to unfold before your eyes. Here's your chance to bring out your inner landscape photographer. Like those who came before you, your journey follows the Kicking Horse River deep into the breathtaking Canadian Rockies. Next up, the legendary spiral tunnels, which opened in 1909. Twist your way through the engineering marvel that proved to be the most difficult terrain to break on Canada's railroad. By now, you're as steeped in history as the vertical drops of the magnificent mountains you pass by. Postcard images continue to appear around every bend until eventually, world-famous Banff comes into view, and you're left wondering how it's possible to travel both forwards and backwards in time. The first passage to the west. Now, who says you can't travel through time?
Kendall, could you hear and see that pretty well? Good, good. I just couldn't remember whether I clicked the two little buttons for optimizing video. So apparently I did. So that's great. That evening, about 10 hours later, you'll get into Kamloops. And, you know, when I first came into Kamloops, it really struck me. I thought it was going to be a much smaller town. And Kamloops is actually a pretty good sized town, mountain town. And the guys there on the horses, they're always there to greet our train. They think they're Mounties, but they're not. They'll tell you they are, but I just don't think they are. But anyway, it's a great interim stop there on that first passage to the west route, and you can see the bottom right there, the train coming over the bridge into Kamloops, and it's just a few hundred yards to the train station there from there. So you'll know you're there when you go over that bridge. But and I'll tell you, you know, everything's included on the train. You'll want for nothing on the train, and they keep it coming all day long. All meals, snacks, drinks, top shelf liquors, beers, everything. And most people say they're not hungry at all when they get to Kamloops. And so, you know, there are plenty of restaurants around there though, and fun little places to eat. And we typically use you know, the Sandman Signature Hotel or something similar to this. This is the only property that we don't tell you where you're going to be exactly in Kamloops for a while closer as we get to the trip, because we have to manage our hotel inventory very, very carefully in this town, because we don't have as much of it there. But that's the Sandman. That's one of the ones we use the most. So day 4, boarding the train. You can see how tall the Gold Leaf cars are by this picture here. They really are very tall, and they're twin level. And by the way, I didn't say earlier, they have 2 spiral staircases, one on either end, and there's a small lift on board as well. So even if you just don't feel like navigating the spiral staircase, well, the hosts are fine in helping you down on using that lift. And that little area they're boarding on is the outdoor viewing platform. And that Gold Leaf car that you see there, that is one of our newest 3rd generation Gold Leaf cars. And so the outdoor viewing platforms are a little bit bigger. And that is what we call the trailing dome. We always try to make it a Gold Leaf car. Usually it is, because we want to give somebody that spectacular 180-degree view out the back of that car. So it's really great. And you can see the historic kind of nature of the Kamloops station there on the right-hand side. So that's boarding there in Kamloops, and then enjoying some fantastic scenery over to Banff and Lake Louise. And you'll get to Banff that night. And these are just some of the things to do that we'll talk about in a little bit in Banff. And it's not uncommon to see elk that close on the golf course. I've seen them myself, and I wouldn't recommend, getting too close to them. In fact, most people kind of tend to stay away, but that's a little too close for comfort right there for sure. And we'll talk about the Banff gondola here in just a minute. And there's some hot springs in Banff as well. But it's a beautiful town. Our hotel for 3 nights is the Moose Hotel. It's only a few years old, 2 or 3 years old. And let me back up here. These are programmed to go ahead in advance, but it's a beautiful property. Banff Lodging owns it, and several others. You can see that lobby area. And it's also, I think this is one of the restaurant areas which you'll have dinner and breakfast in there, 1 or 2 mornings and nights there. But the great thing about this is you got 3 nights to really unpack and enjoy Banff, a great place to see and go and explore and shopping. And you can go up to the Fairmont Banff Springs and look around. There's the outdoor pool area on towards the top of the property as well. So just a great hotel there, and it's right downtown Banff. And we couldn't have done any better than that. That's a wonderful hotel. So day 5, group breakfast at the Moose, and then followed by a private guided full day tour and sightseeing at Lake Louise. And that one of the things, that's not Lake Louise, that's actually Emerald Lake. And I'm pretty sure you go to Emerald Lake on this tour. But the highlight, and we use Brewster, by the way. They're our partner, our motor coach partner, and their guides are tremendously funny and talented, and they multitasking. They're both driving and talking about the scenery that we're going through. And they're brand new motor coaches. They're 52 passenger motor coaches, and they're more like high-end RVs. I mean, they're really very nice. And so Brewster has been a great partner for us in the Canadian Rockies. But here is the highlight, I think, of the day. We'll spend some time at Chateau Lake Louise and see the beautiful property. Have a buffet lunch there. We'll take a group picture out by the lake. In fact, I've done this a couple of times with groups, and they love it. Our photographer gets everybody, in line and perfectly, and takes a stunning picture of the lake. And here is day 6, group breakfast at the Moose Hotel again, and then a beautiful day free in Banff. And so you've got a full day there to relax and do whatever you want to in that area. And it's just, like I said, just a lot to do, a lot to see. Great restaurants downtown. My favorite is called the Park Distillery. It's kind of a glamping type of food, and one of their signature dishes is or desserts is s'mores in a jar with the smoke still in the jar. So don't quite know how they do that. I guess they just shove it in there and put the lid on. But anyway, it's really cool the way they do it. And so that's day 6, and then day 7, you'll enjoy the Banff gondola first, and then kind of a little mini tour around Banff as you're leaving and jumping on the highway. And don't miss this gondola. I tell you, it's really fantastic because you've got this incredible 360-degree view of the Bow Valley. And especially on a clear day, it is just absolutely stunning. And there's restaurants at the bottom and at the top, and there's a video viewing room at the top, and this incredible walkway areas that they have. And this is one of the highlights of Banff for sure. So don't do that on your free day, because you're going to do it, the next day going out of town on the way to Calgary. So our last hotel there in Calgary is the Hotel Arts. Again, these are the 2 hotels that I say this about, but the Hotel Arts, the rooms are huge, very modern, very contemporary, gigantic rooms with these incredible bathrooms, very, very modern, like I said, decor. And I'll just let you see what a beautiful bathroom it has with these are the standard rooms too. I mean, it's just an amazing place. And then day 8, the final day, group breakfast there in one of the restaurants there at the Hotel Arts, and departing for Calgary Airport. So the pricing on this starts at $42.85 per person. So like I said, be sure and check with Brandt Travel if you're interested in this one. And they'll give you one of these flyers too. I know they have plenty of them. So Kendall, is there anything you wanted to say about this before I move on to Rockies to the Red Rocks?
Yes. So if you are interested in our July departure, right now we are holding space with names only. And so that's a great opportunity for you to make sure that your space is held. And then deposit will not actually be due until February. So we have a little bit of time for you to get your name on the list and be excited about it, but no concern about the deposit for another few more weeks.
And Kendall, not to interrupt you, but I just heard from the Army today that they are going to extend that. It sounds like even further than that. So as soon as I get more definitive word on that, I will let you know. So it,
Okay. And for those that are already booked, we'll make sure we communicate with you the extension that Danny's talking about with payment. So again, if this is something you're interested in, we would encourage you to reach out to us. If you want to have a hard copy of the flyer, you can send me a quick email and I'll have that up for you at the end, but I'll send you the flyer in your inbox.
Thank you, Kendall. And now, Rockies to Red Rock. I thought you would appreciate soundless fireworks, right? So this is my way of, kind of, dramatically, advancing to our Rockies to the Red Rocks. We're so excited about this. I told you what our owner said early in the year. Our partner, our rail partner in the U.S. is Union Pacific, and they are just doing a fantastic job for us. We're going to be using their locomotives. They're going to wrap them in our logo, but the rest of the equipment will be ours. And after 30 years of travel, we're finally advancing, coming to the U.S. Rockies. And there's going to be more of this in 2022 as well. And this 2021 is just an intro season, and it will start in August and end in early October. So this is some of the beautiful red rocks that you'll see, and just a little bit of what we're going to go over for Rockies to Red Rocks. The highlights of the passage, what a day will look like on the train, scenic highlights, the onboard experience, the key destinations of Denver, Glenwood Springs, and Moab, and some sample packages. So, but before I go into the details on that, let me show you a very quick, like 30, 40-second introductory video, on Rockies to the Red Rocks. Here we go.
An extraordinary place deserves an extraordinary way to see it. Our newest route, Rockies to the Red Rocks, brings 30 years of Rocky Mountaineer's world-class service to the stunning desert vistas of the American Southwest. Traveling from the vibrant Denver, Colorado, past some of nature's wonders, vast canyons, chromatic deserts, and panoramic views, to the mesmerizing red rock landscapes that twist through the bright blue sky. It's rail travel at its best. After all, if you're going to see an extraordinary place, you want an extraordinary way to see it.
Initial response to this route is absolutely unbelievable. And I know you're going to expect me to say that, but it's really true, especially for groups. We've had just unbelievable, group inquiries from our agency partners. And so we're very gratified at the initial response to this. And it's going to be a spectacular route. It's a little bit shorter. So that first day from Denver to Glenwood Springs is about 8 hours. You'll leave Denver at about 8. If you're going westbound, you can go eastbound as well. But you'll leave Denver at about 9 in the morning and arrive Glenwood Springs at about 5 in the afternoon. And we'll show you some of those sites in just a minute. And then the next morning, leaving Glenwood Springs at about 7 and arriving Moab, Utah, or just outside Moab. Actually, it's just a couple of miles northwest of Moab. We're going to be building a detraining platform there, and covered and protected and all of that. And that's where we'll board directly onto our motor coaches. And depending on the package you're on, you'll head out then to the rest of the trip. So just a little bit of, a few highlights about this. We're operating again, both eastbound and westbound, from the mountain passes and dramatic canyons of Colorado, all the way to Utah. It's like our Canada routes. We always talk about our Canada routes as being, 70% of what you see on the train, you can't see any other way. It's very similar on this route, and also about 60% of this journey follows the Colorado River. And one thing that we're very, very happy about is there is no freight traffic on this line. And so we believe that we're going to be able to be operating on time the vast majority of the time. And that's always our goal. So the first day, let me just show you some highlights of that. The Big Ten curve, which is known for its high winds, actually. I know that's not very comforting, but they've actually erected rail cars around to protect the other tracks, the real tracks, from the wind. And so those rail cars that they put are actually permanent. So that's part of the Big Ten curve. And so you'll go around and you'll see Cold Creek Canyon, Gross Reservoir Dam, Moffett Tunnel, Byers Canyon, Gore Canyon, Burns, and Glenwood Canyon. And we're still learning about this route. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know that much about this route or this area. I mean, I've been skiing in Colorado many times, but I did not know that Glenwood Springs is going to be such a great interim stop too. And we'll be hearing, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that momentarily. But day one, Red Canyon and also Byers Canyon. You can see some of the scenery here. Gross Reservoir Dam, I do know, is a major source of water for Colorado. And then day two, from Glenwood Springs, you'll go by Parachute Creek, DeBeck Canyon, Mount Logan, Mount Garfield, Ruby Canyon, Mount Peel, and the La Salle Mountains, et cetera, et cetera. So just some of the spots there on that day. And again, that's a shorter day. That's about a 5-hour day. So that's going to leave you a lot more time in the Moab area to enjoy Moab and or go on. They have some really interesting tours after you get to Moab, if you're doing it, if you're going westbound. And then here's day two, some of the Mount Garfield. As you can see, that looks like something off of Mars, right? I mean, really spectacular rock formations, Book Cliffs, La Salle Mountains. And then one thing I wanted to point out on this is we're doing our Silverleaf cars only. We're bringing 6 Silverleaf cars, and we're just hearing that it may actually be double that, maybe more than that, because of the demand on this, how high it is. So far, our owner is actually saying that we may actually bring more of our Silverleaf cars, but we cannot bring our Gold Leaf cars because they're too tall to fit through the tunnels. So we're going to have 2 levels of Silverleaf. We're going to have regular Silverleaf, which is spectacular, and we're going to have Silverleaf Plus. And you can see an outside picture of the Silverleaf cars there. Again, these are single level cars, huge picture windows, kind of partially domed in the corners, top corners of the cars. And the seats, like Gold Leaf, all swivel, or most of them swivel. So if you have 2 couples traveling together, then you can have the host swing them around, one side of them around, and have 2 couples facing each other to enjoy the scenery and a drink together and be able to talk and what have you. So both classes of service have that. And there's an interior shot of one of the Silverleaf cars, and you get a good idea of how much room there is in between the seats and just how huge those picture windows are. And there's Silverleaf dessert service there. And again, just like Gold Leaf, they're going to be bringing it all day long, and you're probably not going to be hungry when you get to Glenwood Springs or Moab. But we'll let you guys be the judge of that, because they really do feed you well and serve you well on board. That's what we're all about. As you can probably tell by now, we're not about transportation. We're about a luxury vacation experience. We always have been. And there's the exclusive lounge car for Silverleaf Plus. So Silverleaf Plus is what is going fast. So if you are interested in this, especially westbound, this seems to be incredibly popular. And so what it offers is additional upgraded meals and snacks and drinks in the lounge car. We're going to be bringing one and possibly both of our lounge cars, and they'll have certain times of the day where they'll invite our Silverleaf Plus guests in here. So that's the way that works. The additional cost, I think, is about $499 a person or something like that. And I think, for me, it would be well worth it. I would do that in a heartbeat. It's just another nice place to go and enjoy the scenery and being with your fellow passengers. So this is one of our guest posts on TripAdvisor for 2019 for Silverleaf. And I thought I would just throw this in here. This is, don't think of Silverleaf as less in any way than Gold Leaf. It's just, like I said earlier, it's different. And And that's, we always present it that way. And so you're going to love Silverleaf or Silverleaf Plus on this new Rockies to Red Rocks route. And the top picture, there are 3 main destinations on this route, are Moab, Utah, Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and Denver, Colorado. And speaking of Denver, this is going to be really special, either to begin or to end your trip. And downtown Denver will be coming in and out of Union Station. It's in the Larimer Square area. I'm not really familiar with this area, but I've kind of gotten to know it, having studied it now for the past few months. And downtown Denver in the Larimer Square area, here's the Denver Museum of Art. Bottom left is it shows you how walkable this area is. You can see the hop-on, hop-off bus that goes up to the downtown area and back, just a few blocks, and very walkable area. Lots of restaurants with outdoor seating and lots of brew pubs in the area. So it's just going to be a great, and all 3 of our main hotel partners are going to be in this area too, and I'll show you those in a few more slides. Glenwood Springs, again, great interim stop for us, and you'll have more time there than you would, let's say, in Kamloops. It's a very walkable town, much smaller town than Kamloops, but lots of restaurants, again, like Larimer Square in Denver, lots of outdoor seating, several very historic hotels, and there's a pedestrian bridge that goes back and forth over the Colorado River. And you can go anywhere in Glenwood Springs in 5 or 10 minutes on foot. So, and then one of the highlights is the hot springs in that area. And when we show the hotels in a few more slides, you'll get an idea. It's got the world's largest hot springs pool, and I'll show that shortly. But Moab, let's go to Moab really quickly. Some of the rock formations. We have 18 total Rockies to Red Rocks packages when you include eastbound and westbound and the shorter packages to long packages. But all of them include some level of some of the Mighty 5 Utah national parks. And there's Moab there, one of the big rock formations. I'm trying to remember exactly which one that is, but it's not coming to me. But downtown area, bottom left, is very much like what you would have or what you would see there in Glenwood Springs as well. Very walkable, and lots of shops and restaurants and things to do there. And we have some spectacular excursions. One of them is a jet boat ride. And when I say jet boat, don't get me wrong. It's not, you're not going 90 miles an hour on the river. It's a jet boat, but it goes very slowly up the river. And they show at night, they show this somehow a truck is on the road and it's projecting onto the wall of the canyon. And I'm told it's just spectacular. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing. And some of our Moab hotel partners, the Hoodoo Moab Curio Collection by Hilton, the top picture there, that's going to be a very nice hotel. You can see the lobby area there. Bottom left is the Hyatt Place, and then bottom right is the Hilton Homewood Suites. And then the Hoodoo Curio Collection, there's an outdoor area of the hot tub and the pool, very southwesterny feel, and much like what you would see in Scottsdale, Arizona, or Albuquerque. And by the way, the cuisine on the train is going to be a southwestern type of flair as well. So we think it's going to be very popular with our Texas market too. And Moab hotel partners, again, inside shots there, Hoodoo Moab Curio Collection. Just realize how big that room is. That's gigantic. But that's, and then the bottom left is the Hyatt Place, and bottom right is the Hilton Homewood Suites. Again, over to Glenwood Springs. There's that world's largest hot springs pool. It's not the only one there. The Glenwood Hot Springs Resort actually doesn't own this, but they include it if you're staying there free of charge. And that, we think this is going to be a huge attraction. But again, even if you're staying at the Hotel Denver or the Hotel Colorado, bottom left and right, there are other hot springs pools there, and you can even use that one that you see in that top picture, but it's just a small charge for that. That's the only difference. The Glenwood Hot Springs Resort is the only one that includes it. So interior or hotel shots there, the Glenwood Springs, the Hotel Denver at the top, a lot of history in that hotel. Bottom left, the Glenwood Hot Springs Resort, and bottom right is the Hotel Colorado. And again, all of that is just really in the same area as the Glenwood Springs rail station. Now over to Denver, and we're getting close to the end here, but there are three primary hotels in Denver. Are the Maven Hotel, the top there, very modern, contemporary type property. And then Union Station has been redone. It's a lot of history in this station, and there's a hotel inside that we'll be using. And it, I believe it's pretty new. I haven't verified that yet, but I think it's a pretty new hotel. They've redone it, and it's called the Crawford. And then also the Oxford Hotel on the bottom right. So if you see at the Oxford Hotel, if you look underneath the porte-cochere there, where it says it has this Oxford sign, you can see Union Station across the street. And so you can tell how close the hotels are in that area. And some of the interior shots, the Oxford Hotel in the top there, that's a king room. And then the bottom one is the Crawford Hotel, and bottom left and bottom right is the Maven. Again, you can see that's more contemporary. And I'm told that the Maven has a spectacular restaurant and a great coffee bar. And I don't remember the name of the restaurant. I'm sorry. I'll have to study up some more on these little spots. But you can also see the Colorado Rockies Stadium outside the window of the Maven there in Denver. So that's our Denver hotel properties. And one of the packages we think is going to be pretty popular, and it's already proving to be so, is our Rockies to the Red Rocks Discovery Self-Drive. And we think that there are a lot of people that are, or some people anyway, that are still going to want to, social distance. And so this is the way you can do that and not be on motor coaches. And we're going to be providing a 3-day full-size car rental with this particular package. And then I only had time to put in one other package. This is one of our longer ones. It's called Rockies to the Red Rocks Explorer, Las Vegas. So if you're doing this, if the rail eastbound back towards Denver, then you'll do your Las Vegas and Bryce Canyon and Moab and Dead Horse Point and all that green dotted line there. You'll do that first and then board the train in Moab. If you're going westbound, obviously you'll start in Denver and do that on the other end. But our primary hotel partner, not our only one, but our primary one in Las Vegas is Caesar's Palace. So really quickly, we're offering a lot of flexibility. We know we have to do that this year. This may even become more flexible soon as we discussed. But if you're thinking about the Western Canadian routes, if you are holding a future travel credit with us, it can be used on the Rockies to the Red Rocks. So keep that in mind. If it's a brand new Canada booking for us, it's a 20% deposit due at time of booking. And then you still have 60 days to completely change your mind and get all of your money back. And then even after if you decide to go ahead at 60 days, then you still have 2 free date changes that you could go later in 2021 or even up to 23. And then even after final payment at 60 days, you have until 30 days and you can do name change. So if there's 4 people in the booking, only one name in the booking would have to stay the same. So we're offering a lot of flexibility there. And then if you look at the left-hand side, it's really the same thing, just showing that the future travel credit from, if you're holding one in for Canada, which we didn't, again, we didn't have a season in 2020. So a lot of people are holding credits, and you can use that on the Rockies to Red Rocks on the left-hand side here. If it's a brand new booking, we're a lot more flexibility here. It's a $25 USD risk-free deposit until February 3rd. And then you put down your 20% deposit, and everything else is the same as what you saw on the right-hand side for Canada. And again, stay tuned. This may change a little bit more. But also for 2022, if you're thinking about 2022, we have all of our rail-only dates in 2022. And they're telling us that we will have our full packages in sometime around early to mid-March. But you can book the rail-only date that closest corresponds to the time you want to travel. And then when it comes time, we get all our full packages in there for both Canada and the US. We will have a full Rockies to the Red Rocks season in 2022. we'll work with Kendall and all of her staff at Brandt, and we'll rebook your package from the ground up, so to speak. And that's only a $25 Canadian deposit, and you don't have to make any decision at all on this until May 14th of this year of 2021. So that's a lot of flexibility for 2022 as well. And I mentioned earlier that, safety is our priority. It always has been, but we're waiting to see just how much of an issue that the virus is still going to be. But we have various levels of protocols that will be in place for both the US and our Canada routes. And you can find those on our website, but there may be some adjustments to them as the vaccines are doled out, and we get a better idea of where all this is going. So anyway, I'm so sorry, Kendall, I've gone a little bit long here, but if you want to open it up for questions, or if you want to have them put them in the chat, I don't know how exactly you want to do that, but
yes, if you can open it up for live questions, that would be great.
Yeah, let me get out of here real quick and just see if I can unmute everyone. Give me just a second here.
Okay.
Gosh, we have 41 people on. That's awesome. Let me try to figure out how to unmute everybody at the same time. I'm just going to have to go down the list.
Okay, well, again, while we're waiting to get everyone up and able to ask questions.
Be there in just a minute, Kendall.
Okay.
Having to do them one at a time because I can't remember how to do them all at once. Let's see here. Almost done. Bear with me one more minute.
Okay. And we explained that we didn't know it was Travelers. We thought it was Heart. Okay, so she'll be calling you. Okay. Bye, cutie.
Guys, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, that would be great. And I think I just have a few more to go here. Bear with me one more second. All right, Kendall, if you want to open it up while I'm unmuting the rest of these, that's fine.
Okay, this should be interesting because I can't see your faces, so I don't know who's speaking, but if someone would like to go ahead and start with a question for Danny or myself.
See if I can look. Can you see more now? The gallery view here.
You have a question?
Does anyone have a question for us? Okay, hold on.
Yeah. I'm at my now. That's a question.
Jan, do you have a question?
I do. I've never heard exactly how many people will be going on these trips. For instance, on the Rocky Mountain Canadian trip, about how many people are involved. And I'm also interested in the Rockies trip, how many people will be involved in that.
Well, we don't have any space yet on the Rockies to Red Rocks, right? That I know of anyway. Now we can totally change that if we need to. And then I'm trying to remember your allotment on the Canadian trip. I don't remember how many we're holding to.
You're a little difficult to hear, Danny.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure why that is. Were you able to hear me?
Yes, that's better.
Better. Okay, good. Well, I was just saying I'm not sure what our allotment is on the Canadian route.
Well, I guess one of the questions maybe I'll clarify is with regards to the motor coaching portion of the Rockies trip. you're going to have limits on the number of guests that will be on one motor coach to maintain social distancing.
Oh, yes, if we need to, absolutely we will, yeah, and that's the plan. And even boarding from half full motor coaches to half full rail cars, that's a possibility.
Okay.
We're going to be very, very careful on that, and we're going to put people in the same motor coach for the entire trip and the same rail cars and what have you. So we've got full protocols ready to go there.
Okay. Okay, Gloria and John, did you have a question? Billingsley?
Yes, yes. Do you have further information about tours after you leave Moab, other than renting a car and driving? Are there provisions for package tours?
Yes, we're using a company as our partner this year because we want this first season to really go correctly, and then we'll more than likely, take it over ourselves as we kind of learn the area. But our partner here is a company called Southwest Adventure Tours. They're going to be doing all the motor coaches and smaller vans and what have you, and they're very familiar with the area. They're based in Utah, and a lot of the touring will be surrounding on that end, and the Utah end will be in and out of the Mighty Five national parks, Bryce Canyon, and all the other 5. Yeah. So if you want to know more about the individual FIT or individual packages, you can go to our website, and that information is on there now.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. Any other questions at all? Well, thank you very, very much, Kendall, for having me tonight, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. I hope I didn't go too long, and Kendall, as always, please let me know if I can help, and especially if you feel like a Rockies to the Red Rocks group is in order, we'll certainly look into that. So.
Yes. So for those of you that are on it, I said in the very beginning, if you're interested in information about the July group trip, we have a flyer that we can email to you. Just send me a quick email and then I'll know who to share it with. If you're interested in one of the other routes or the US routes, please send me a message as well, and we will get some information over to you. We are planning to hold space on a 2022 US Red Rock departure. We're still looking through the options right now to see which one would be of greatest interest. And so we will be getting that out to you as well for a future trip for 22. So in the meantime, anything that you heard about today that you have questions about, please feel free to reach out to one of the Brandt travel team members. We are more than happy to help you, and we have a great partnership with Danny. And I know that as soon as new information comes out, if protocols are adjusted, he will get that information to us and we will make sure it's available to you. So again, we just thank you all so much for joining us today and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Your email.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Have a nice evening. And,
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kendall.
Thank you.